Get the latest movie reviews, Hollywood news, and inside views. It's time for Behind the Screens with Lights, Camera, Jackson on 107.7 GNA.
Here he is, our professional film critic, good friend of the show, and he takes us behind the screens on some movies that are opening up this weekend. It is Lights, Camera, Jackson. Good morning, Jax. How are you, my man?
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Are you don't have Triscuits, do you? Do you have any Triscuits as a snack when you go into the theater?
I don't know if I have any Triscuits. Are they up in the cabinets? Not usually when I go to the movies.
Hey, real quick, I saw A Quiet Place last weekend, and what did you think of it? Like, was it overhyped? Did these?
Yeah, it made $50 million at the box office over the weekend, and I thought it was just all right. There is a lot of suspense to it. You feel that. I had one main problem with this movie. Why in the world did they decide to have another kid knowing the situation that they were placed in? That bugged me the whole time. Did that bug you, Brian?
It did. There was no, unless somehow those outside forces. Now, keep in mind, she's 8.5 months pregnant when we start watching the film.
Okay.
Right, and the movie starts, and this is not a spoiler alert, but the movie starts. It's like day 9. It's like day 89. So she may have already been about 4 months pregnant by the time they were invaded by these.
Well, she's not pregnant at the start, because then they go from day 89 to day 472. You do the math. That's more than a year later.
Oh, yeah.
Which is it's the problem I have with this movie is the math and the fact that they decided after what happens in the opening scene to then have the kid knowing all this happened. It's just, to me, that element is ridiculous.
Maybe it was an accident.
Accidents happen.
It may have been an accident.
I mean, my sister Nancy and I are 11 months apart. You do the math. I'm pretty sure.
No,
not me.
That's a good one, Jackson. There's about 10 of those things in the film that make it just completely not plausible or not even practical. Like, here's the thing. If you're trying to prevent yourself and your family from being killed by these outside forces, because if you make any noise, they come get you. And again, that's not a spoiler alert. People know
that's the premise of the movie.
There are 1,000 ways to prevent death, none of which they actually do.
Right.
Right?
There are some parts of it. There are some plot holes. But, Emily, that bathtub scene, it is a highlight, and she gives a pretty good performance in it.
She does give a good bathtub scene. All right, so, Jackson, I have a feeling you hate the Rock movie Rampage, which opens up this weekend. I just feel like it's big, it's clunky, it's a rock buster. And I feel like you don't like those films.
He's made his own genre with the Rockbusters. This combo of Dwayne Johnson and director Brad Payton did San Andreas back in 2015, which I really liked because they took it seriously, but you still had some fun with it. This movie, not nearly as successful. I didn't completely hate it, but I didn't love it by any means. It's based on the video game from the 80s, and you see the giant genetic engineered animals coming through Chicago, and some of it's just laugh out loud funny, the way the visuals are and the way they're just throwing people. They're throwing cars and buildings and helicopters. And so the second half is definitely more interesting because the action is pretty insane, but there's a lot of corny dialogue. The first half is really rough to watch. Not a great movie.
How about the other movie, which is pretty, getting good scores, right? Critics like it. That's Isle of the Dogs. What do you think? It
is. It's an animated film, more for older kids and adults, though. It's a PG-13 rated, from Wes Anderson. He did Fantastic Mr. Fox back in 2009, one of my all-time favorite animated movies. I love it so much. I like this movie, not as much as that one, but there's a lot going on here. It's an incredible voice cast. Bryan Cranston, Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, Jeff Goldblum, the list goes on and on. The story is quirky. It's out there, it's original, and it's a movie you really got to pay attention to the entire time. Your eyeballs just keep moving. I think at times there's a little too much going on, but if you're an animation fan, if you love Wes Anderson, you got to see Isle of Dogs.
So more than likely, Rampage at, what do you think, 70 million is your number one movie at the box office over the weekend?
Maybe not that high, but I think Rampage will probably win. Truth or Dare, which is also out this weekend, a new horror movie, could sneak in for the number 2. I've been seeing that the estimates on it have been kind of low, even though I think it'll do better, especially with Friday the 13th being today. I do think a lot of teens and 20-year-olds will go see Truth or Dare.
Didn't Madonna make a movie called Truth or Dare?
Yes, that was
With,
a documentary,
Warren,
if you will.
Beatty. That's when she swallowed the bottle. Remember that?
I do.
I do. You ever see that?
No.
That was a powerful scene.
That was a
All
good
right.
movie.
Not quite as powerful
That was
as
a
the
great
bathtub
movie.
scene.
Jackson, did you like that?
That was a terrible. Madonna's Truth or Dare was awful, wasn't it?
No, I
You're
did
thinking Dick
not
Tra-
see
oh, well, he was
Madonna's
in-
Truth
yeah,
or
Truth or
Dare.
Dare.
No, I don't think I've seen Madonna in a movie. My gosh, I've heard her songs in movies.
Oh, come
but
on.
yeah.
Desperately Seeking Susan?
That
You've
wasn't a
never
bad
seen?
movie.
That was a great movie.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Who's that girl? Terrible.
Hang on a second. I don't think
Oh,
that
it's a
you
great
should
movie.
tell
I
a
think
film
it's-
critic that Desperately Seeking Susan was a
I
great
thought it was
movie.
a great movie. Personally, I liked that movie. I
And,
thought it was
and
good.
she was very good in A League of
I was gonna. That's what I was gonna say.
Fantastic.
Oh, true, League of Her Own. That's
Yep.
right. And you know, with Truth or Dare, I don't believe Madonna will be making an appearance in this.
Well, that's good for
year.
all of
That
us.
was
I'm just saying.
right.
I'll tell you what, for Friday the 13th, though, she would be a scary looking figure in it because you ever see sometimes
Yeah.
she doesn't really
Looks like a
film that
cat.
well. Yes. Jackson, great stuff as always. If people want more from you, how can they do that?
This conversation definitely took a turn. Go to lights-camera-jackson.com, Instagram at LCJ Reviews, and on Twitter at LCJ Reviews. Starting this Sunday, I'm doing LCJ Live, about 20 to 30 minutes, highlighting some of the big entertainment stuff happening. So noon Eastern, Sunday, be on Twitter for LCJ Live.
Awesome.
Look at you, multimedia platform
Thanks,
superstar.
Jackson.
LCJ behind the screens. Yeah, Truth or Dare. It was a black and white movie
It was.
too.
Yep.
Documentary.
It was a
Class-
documentary.